That are just now joining, we are going live here. I'm waiting for the live stream to start on all platforms. So bear with me one moment. All right. My name is Tucker Johnson, and today I am doing a pop up live stream here with a special guest. As usual, I've been able to find another victim to bring with me onto these live streams. And we have Yuka Nakasone joining us today. I think many people are familiar with Yuka, but I'll let her introduce herself. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Yuka?
Hi, good evening from Barcelona. Thank you for having me, Tucker. My name is Yuka Nakasone. I'm a globalization localization director at Intento. It's a AI MT curating platform company, and myself, I've been in this industry for about 25 years. And I did a lot of things. And I love technology and innovation and languages and cultures. So this is the globalization and localization industry is my place to be. Um, and I'm Japanese, but I'm based in Barcelona. My family is Franco-Japanese, meaning not even Spanish. So
Franco-Japanese.
yeah, yeah. So
Franco-Japanese based in Barcelona.
yeah,
That is quite the mix.
yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting. It's like living in a bubble. You're not living anywhere but
Right,
everywhere.
right. And
Yeah.
today we're going to be talking about professional growth during digital transformation.
Mhm.
You've spoken a lot about this. You speak at a lot of conferences. I think you just spoke yesterday. What was tell us a little bit about the presentation you gave yesterday. Was it
Oh
yesterday or two
yes.
days ago?
Yeah. No, no, no. It was yesterday. It was at the XCLF summit
Hmm.
online. I was invited to talk about future of localization. Of course, because Intento is a very futuristic company,
Uh-huh.
and we are doing something that nobody did. Nobody kind of haven't hasn't done yet, and we are doing more new things and bringing in some new technology and new concept. And of course, I am one of the faces of innovation because I've been doing process innovation challenge for about 3 years right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why I talked about future of organization. And my point was that people think that 2020 was difficult for everybody, right? For
Right,
you,
right.
I'm pretty sure it was difficult for you as well, Tucker.
Oh, it's difficult for everybody. It's difficult for
Yeah.
me. It's difficult if it's difficult for me, it's definitely difficult for my employees, my wife, my kids. It's difficult for everybody. And we've been talking a lot about this at the organizations I work with. Is how do you and during COVID and as things are
Mhm.
changing, how do you continually make sure that you're prioritizing yourself, that you're
Yeah,
prioritizing your personal growth and your professional growth. What is the role of the company in that? What is the role of the individual in that? Because everybody has their part to play, right?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
you certainly have some things to say about this, and we
yeah,
actually have some bullet points to go through here.
yeah,
You have three tips essentially to keep it simple to
yeah.
share with people, and the first here is fully embrace agile. What does
Yeah.
that mean to you? What should people be doing to fully embrace agile?
So we talked before we went into COVID. Digitization was fully on. Mm, the point yesterday was that people think that this is new, this is disruption, this is um, as if something very, very novel, but actually digital transformation was fully on before COVID, right? So it
Right.
was just an
Right.
accelerator,
Yeah.
and it's really hit us because the speed of transformation accelerated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And before we went into COVID, we already changed from waterfall to agile. Do you remember?
I
So
do.
we
Yeah.
are already talking about continuous organization.
For those of us old enough
Uh,
to remember the switch between
yes,
waterfall and
yeah,
agile.
yeah, yeah. Like you and me,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course.
Those of us that are old enough to remember that switch are probably old enough to also still be talking about agile as if it's like actually a new thing that we should be
Yeah, I
talking
know.
about.
I know. So, anyways, we talked about agile process in, for example, the development department,
Hmm.
engineers, blah blah blah. But actually, this needs to be embraced by human beings. I mean, uh, my take is that change is difficult for human beings. I mean, change.
I, I
Not
I would
we,
agree with that.
we are not talking about transformation changes like superficial transformation, like changing your process, changing your habit, like having tea instead of coffee
Hmm.
in the morning.
Right.
It's not obvious, it's not easy, right?
Even small changes are
Yeah.
hard. Sometimes especially
So
small changes are
yeah,
harder for people. Like big
exactly.
changes big changes, people can rally behind the flag. They can say, all right, this is a big change. I need to accept this. I need to embrace this. I need to
Yeah.
move forward based upon this change. And sometimes that's actually easier than the small changes because the small changes are the
Oh,
ones where we can convince ourselves like, we don't need to do anything, and they pile up.
yeah. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah.
And
And these big changes, like transformation is a big change because it's transformation means that there's something inside is changing. I mean, belief system is changing, something like foundation is changing, not just superficial change, right? So digital transformation is by definition difficult and challenging. And how can we have to take it? Maybe fully embrace agile, meaning that we don't expect to be perfect. Agile development, agile process aims to just throw in the product into the market, right? Even if it's not perfect, we get feedback and then improve. Then next sprint, we're going to improve and throw the improvement into market.
I,
That's the
I
agile system,
Yeah, and we
right?
use this a lot, just to reiterate there. Like we use this a lot here at NIMSY, this try fast, fail
Mhm.
fast. You can call it agile. We call
Yeah.
it actually we have a special name for it. We call it the honey badger approach
What?
because yeah, the honey badger approach. I have a stuffed honey badger here somewhere.
Wow.
Maybe my kids got it. But because of that viral meme video where honey badger don't care, right? So it's kind of an inside joke here at NIMSY that when we say we've turned the word honey badger into a verb. You see, there's a little honey badger on the screen here if
Yeah.
you're watching live, and we've turned this word honey badger into a verb. So we're just gonna honey badger
Right.
this, and what we mean by
Yeah.
that is try fast, fail fast. Throw
Yeah.
stuff out there, see what sticks, and what doesn't stick. Cut investment and move on. Like we
Exactly.
have multiple irons in the fire. In this
Yeah.
day and age, in an agile world, it is not enough to be working on one initiative at a time,
Hmm.
right? You need to be working
Exactly.
on three, four, five initiatives at a time, because not all of them are going to stick, so to speak. Not all of them are going to work.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's what it means
Uh,
to me.
yeah. It's totally like a Gary V kind of word. He's
It's,
tackling so many things, and
exactly.
what fails,
Exactly.
it fails. So that's what I mean, like fully embrace agile, exactly what you said. But personal level as well, the company should be embracing this, or department or
Hmm.
team. but you really have to embrace this as a professional. If we talk about professional level, because for example, I have a system, um, of a sprinting system of 2 weeks. So I
Okay.
do it like I put my goal is like in a quarter based basis, but my project and tasks are put into the 2 weeks terms, and then at the end of the 2 weeks, I have to look back and feedback and reflect what I have to do more, do less, stop doing, start doing, all that kind of stuff. So this is what I mean. In at the professional human level, we can embrace agile in this way, right? And
Yeah,
it's yeah,
it's always interesting to me because a lot of these concepts, these methodologies, these things out there, these processes that are meant for organizations, they're meant for companies. A lot of the principles can be applied at the personal level, right?
exactly.
So this try fast, fail fast, stay open, pivot quickly, kind of two ways of saying the same thing. Let me go to the slides here. Kind of
Hmm.
two ways of saying the same thing, um, because it's this whole concept of don't be afraid to fail. Don't
Exactly.
one thing I say all the time is don't be afraid to grow up in public because we're all growing up. Still, I don't care how old you are, you're still growing up. I never
Exactly.
got like my official signed adult card when I turned 18 or 21, right? So I'm still growing up. And the difference today, in this day and age, in a world of digital transformation, is that everything is public. Everything is
Yeah,
public. So if you're
very.
growing up, that means you're growing up in public.
Yeah,
So get used to that, be okay with it, make mistakes, do embarrassing things, say stupid stuff, and yeah, hope for the best, I guess.
yeah,
It's been working all right for me,
yeah,
I
yeah. And
guess, until it doesn't.
what I love about Intento is they fully embrace this. They move very quickly, very fast, and CEO embrace this. You know, you can. It's okay to be to fail.
Yeah, and tell me a
So
little bit
yeah.
about, for those people that may be watching this or listening, talk a little bit about what is Pinto and what do you guys do over there? Because it's really interesting. It's really fascinating for those that don't know.
Yeah, I mean, from people in the industry, maybe you look at us about like a machine translation engine company, but it's not a machine translation engine company or even machine translation company. Uh, Intento has a US patented platform which um, curate aggregate and distribute, curate AI engines
Okay.
into to different let's say platforms, softwares, software um, applications, and all this kind of stuff. So what Intento does is help company to use uh, many AI engines to deliver what each department or function needs. Meaning, if localization team needs machine translation engines, different machine translation engines for different purposes, the platform can curate uh, multiple engines and output
So it's kind of
to
like
the destinations.
the answer for somebody who wants to start perhaps using machine translation for their organization, but maybe is doing multiple languages and is not really sure where to start. And we get that question a lot here at NIMSY, like, oh,
Yeah,
which engines should we be using? And typically our standard answer is go talk to the guys over at Intento because
yeah,
that's kind of their gig. So if you're out there and you have questions for Yuka or anybody on the Intento team, I'm sure you can reach
Yeah,
out to them.
yeah,
But
please.
let's get back to our
Mm.
presentation here. We were talking about
Yeah,
fully embracing agile. We're talking about try fast, fail faster, fail big, fail in public. I would say. Um, Number two is build and nurture relationships. So, in your top three tips, this is number two. So, it
Mm.
must be important if it's one of your
Yeah,
top three tips. Why is it important in an age of digital transformation to build and nurture relationships? That seems counterintuitive because
yeah,
technology and relationships can be at odds sometimes.
yeah. But I mean, this was kind of the tip I got when I started out this localization endeavor in Boston in 1996, 97. Um, the CEO then of the company called International Communications once told me that localization is total people business.
Hmm.
You really have to build and nurture relationships.
Who was it that said that to you? You said someone said that to you?
Um, Roger Janti, I don't know if
Okay.
you
I don't know. I don't
you know
know.
him or not. He's closer to you right now because he's in Oregon. He
Oh,
moved from
okay.
Boston to Oregon.
Yeah, he's just
He's
down the street
retired,
from
of
me here
course.
in Seattle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah,
I'm
he
sure he's
he
not the only
he.
person to say that though, because
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah. And he told me going to once your company. I was in Tokyo with him once, visiting MSKK, Microsoft
Right, right, right.
Japan, because we are doing lots of Microsoft localization from Boston, and uh, it was interesting because there are lots of business units, and the same exact team was set to be excellent. You guys are best, or you
Right.
suck. So I was puzzled by the end of the day. But he was saying that the quality when the clients say quality issue, you can be sure that like 95% of the times it's communication issues.
Right.
It
Right. Yeah.
when the
Because to your
communication
point, I've
breaks.
also
Yeah,
seen projects where it's like the same client, they send the same project to two
yeah,
different vendors, and they say this vendor is was way better than this vendor, right? From a quality perspective. And then you find out later that it was actually the same translator that worked on it. Or
yeah,
even I've heard stories too where it was the same vendor, like literally the same person with using different names translating for two different projects. And quality, there's such a perception, quality is so perception driven, right?
yeah,
Now there is such a thing as good quality and bad quality. I know enough to know that. What I don't know
mhm,
enough to know is where to draw the line between
yeah.
good
I
quality and bad
know
quality.
it's my mentor is Bruno Hellman from
Okay. Yeah.
IQVIA right now,
Hmm.
and he always talk about effectiveness. There's no
Right.
such thing or good or bad.
Hmm.
It's if it's effective, it's good. You know. So
Yeah,
if it's
does it accomplish the intended goal, right? And if
exact,
the intended goal is just to get the message across, it's a help document or something how to, then machine translate it. Who cares, right? But if the
yeah,
intended goal is that someone's going to be turned on, for lack of a better expression, by the message, by some marketing translation, and choose to click and choose to buy, then quality means something completely different. But we
exact.
digress. We digress. You get two localization people together, and we're going to end up talking about quality. But
Quality.
we were talking about building and
Yeah,
nurturing relationships.
yeah.
So, and you were telling a story, and I interrupt you as usual.
Yeah, no,
I'm
no, no,
good at
no.
interrupting
So no, no,
people.
no, it's okay. So, anyways, the I mean, uh, we really have to embrace the teamwork in this digital world. You already experienced how important it is to communicate with the team even if it's online, even if it's by phone, to produce something. Otherwise, we can't do anything. I mean, by ourselves, we can do so much. I mean, so trust team, but you have to be trusted as well. To be
Right.
trusted, you have to be accountable. You
Yep.
know, to be accountable, you have to use discipline. So here comes that, Yuka preaching that of course you have to trust your teammate, but you have to be trustworthy first, you know. Then we have to polish ourselves, practicing discipline. And of course we trust team, but let's create a great team being accountable by yourself, right? So but
And I
shit
think
happens.
these ideas of shit
Yeah,
happens. Yeah, shit does
yeah.
happen. But
Uh,
these idea,
so
go on.
when it happens, don't take anything personally. Like if you get any feedback, you got this was not good. I can't really take it personally, but I have to think about the like I said the feedback loop. That what did I do? Where did I make mistake? If I make made mistake, or was it the process? Or uh, don't take anything personally, but just take the feedback. And of course, you have to do your part. That you have to help other people to do that. So help others, not just look at yourself. So that's the key to work in on a team
Mm.
and produce results. This is what I think. That the reason why this is the second.
I
Does it
I
make
I
sense?
absolutely agree. Oh, Renato says that blah 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 blah. Says I should restart. Well, I'm sorry guys if you're on LinkedIn. Sometimes LinkedIn, FYI, LinkedIn when we go live, LinkedIn's not very good at live. Sorry if there's anybody from LinkedIn watching this, um, but it's true. And Renato says that this isn't showing. So if you're not able to watch on LinkedIn, don't worry. We'll post the video afterwards. But getting back to this, I want to talk about these two last points here about don't take anything personally and look beyond your belly button, because I think these are actually very related. Because
Mhm.
not taking things personally is hard, and but one of the ways that I found to help me not take things personally is this idea of looking beyond your belly button, which is simply looking at others, seeing, asking instead of like, how can I, how can I adjust myself or how can I not take this personally? You shift your focus onto others and say, how can I add value to others? How can I go out there and help other people? And
Yeah,
that's actually one of the most powerful tools for not taking anything personally, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. And for example, if you are put in another task, like saying that you got maybe you have to do this instead of this, or you're dismissed from something, when you think of the objective of a company, objective of a team, maybe you can understand the decision comes from the bigger place than yourself. So that's the place you have to look at when you get a kind of the things that upsets you, for example.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's move on to
Mm.
point number point number three here, which is practice a growth mindset and a wow brain. What is a
Wow
wow
brain.
brain? I've never heard of
Wow
that
brain.
before. Never heard of it before. Tell us
Okay,
about.
so yeah, I have a mentor coach slash coach, the professional coach called Todd Hellman. He's based in New York City, and he's a peak performance trainer and coach. And he preaches this wow brain, which is very similar to growth mindset. Do you know growth mindset?
I want to say yes, but I'm not sure. Tell me
Okay,
about
so
growth mindset.
yeah. Just quickly, it is a mindset proposed by Dr. Carol Dweck. Um, uh, Basically, there's two. One group is the people with growth mindset who believe that we can learn anything. Yeah,
We can
and
learn anything,
we
or we
can,
can't.
we can,
Okay.
we can. We are able to learn anything. And the other group is fixed mindset. They believe we can't learn. We have a limiting capability or capacity to do something. So I can't do this because I can't learn to do that. Yeah. So when you
And do
have
you think
growth
that's
mindset,
cultural? Do you think it's a cultural differences between this,
no,
or is it just a personal difference?
I think they're personal because I
Hmm.
saw
I'd say so.
both people in
Hmm.
different cultures. Maybe their tendency though in
Sure.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, in this culture, maybe people more growth mindset type or more fixed mindset. But anyways, that's the definition of growth mindset. Of course, the people who has growth mindset um, are really capable of hitting goals because when they get some kind of assignments that defies you, that challenges you, they go figure out to how can I make it happen? How can I learn? How can I do that? You know, more likely you're going to achieve, right? And
Right. Right.
this
Right.
is the growth mindset. And wild brain that Todd Hammond teaches us is a little bit of this, but more specifically, when you when you execute something, when you want to do something, we have to look back first and then look up. Meaning,
Okay.
we have to recognize our wins all the time, so we
Okay.
we we can be self motivated to go further all the time. Because imagine if you're walking toward a summit of a very high mountain. If you always looking up and feeling like, oh my God, there's so many miles to go still, you get tired. But if you go look back, like if when you stop, you just look back and say, wow, that's why we say, wow, brain, wow, we came so far away. Look at that, we achieved all this. And look up, this is where I want to go. There's a It's very subtle, but this subtle movement of looking back and taking notes of all the wins and recognizing that we achieved this, I achieved this, makes lots of difference in your performance.
Yeah, that
So
makes a
yeah.
that makes a big difference, and I can say like the way that I do that is I
Mhm.
have like a daily notebook, like to-do
Yeah.
list, and every morning I'll sit down and I will put my items, my action items for the day in there, and I will always put some action items in there that I've already done, right?
Yeah.
Meaning like I will literally write down make the bed and then I'll cross it
Right.
off. And I'll write down
Yeah.
like brush my teeth, cross it off, right? And the
Done.
reason I do that is I didn't know it was called wow brain, right?
Yeah.
But it's because I want to be able to look back and say, wow, look how productive I am. Right, and it's these quick wins, these low-hanging fruits that are very, very motivating. And when I'm working with a team or an individual, a person who's feeling stuck, including myself, then one of the best pieces of advice I can give them is, get some quick wins. Focus
Yeah,
focus on a project. I was,
exactly.
if I'm working with someone, I'll assign them something very simple. Like if I have a team member that's struggling with this and just feeling stuck, and just say, "Hey, here's something new. It's a new assignment you haven't done before, but it's very simple, and can you get it to me?" And the point isn't because I need them to do something. The point is
Mhm.
because I want them to taste what it's like to feel that
Yeah,
success,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Great. Yeah, exactly. And some people keep a journal to jot down all the wins along the way. For example,
Mm.
the most famous examples I know is I don't recall the name. Levi's jeans company's president or CEO, the first one who
I don't
grew
remember.
the
Was
brand.
it Levi or
Uh,
Strauss?
I don't know.
I'm out of ideas. I have no idea.
I don't remember. But he kept a journal, jotting down all the wins. And when he came to a point that he was demotivated or depressed or bad days, he pulled out the journal and saw all his wins, along the way and kept going. So it's not it's not his his invention. It's something that works in this kind of situations, like professional work.
And hey,
So
whatever works, right? And what
yeah,
works for one person might not work for another person, right?
yeah,
And which kind of brings us to our last point here that you had, which is lead by example by practicing all of these. How important is
exactly.
it? Why is it important to lead by example, especially in this area?
Oh, because I mean, preaching things doesn't make people move. I mean, you have to inspire. You
Okay,
have to inspire people, right? And the only way you can inspire people is by doing that and by being an example or by showing it. I mean, I had a localization team, and the only way I could motivate them was being motivated myself, right? And talking passionate
right.
about our work. And I did this kind of 2 weeks sprint with my team as well
Mm-hmm.
in my previous company, Beer Blue. Of course, I did all these steps. For example, in 2 weeks, I jotted down all the wins of the team to share with them. So
Right.
I really have to lead by example, and it works. It works. Yeah. I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's because I was on
You
mute.
muted.
Yeah, I was just saying it does work, right? It does work. I can attest to that. And leaders do need to be lead by example, especially in areas like this. And one of the challenging things, though, and we touched on it a little earlier, is even leaders suffer from burnout. Even leaders can get very afraid and react poorly, or not react that great when it comes to issues of change
Yeah.
management, right? And leaders are usually the ones instigating the change. They're usually the ones that are causing the change. But that having been said, it can be challenging for an organization that places too much. I want to say emphasis on, I want to say, like a cult of personality with one or two
Mm-hmm.
charismatic leaders, and we see this a lot
Mm-hmm.
like with startup culture out there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
say what you will about startup culture, there are some interesting characters in there, and I think a lot of companies are built around one one
Mm-hmm.
leader, and then if that leader's management style changes or becomes no longer relevant for the company, depending
Mm-hmm.
upon where they are in their growth cycle or their
Mm-hmm.
startup cycle,
Yeah. Yeah.
or just if that manager or if that founder, CEO, leader goes away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it can be a big shift. But I always do say, culture comes from the top. Culture comes
Yeah.
from the top, always. And if you want to understand what is the culture, what is the general sentiment on a team, look at the team leader. If you want to
Yeah. True.
understand what is the culture of a company, look at the CEO
Exactly.
of the company.
Yeah.
So
I
for
can't agree more.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So for leaders out there, this is particularly important.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of yourself, right?
Exactly. And let's go back to the point too, that leaders can be in a position of struggles as well. But
Right.
what we can deploy is our support system. I have a very good support system that I can people that I can call in confidence.
And
So
and
that's
that's
you
super
have to,
important.
yeah, you
Yeah.
have to cultivate that kind of relationships,
Yeah, which
right?
which brings us to that last
Yeah.
second point, right? Which
Second
was
point.
cultivating relationships,
Yeah,
especially in our industry, and whether that's
exactly.
with a coach, mentor, friends, colleagues,
Yeah,
bosses, ex-bosses, ex-direct reports, it doesn't matter, right?
exactly.
Because people talk to me all the time, like, oh, I need a coach. I need a mentor. I say, need a coach, right? Let's start right there. You don't need a mentor. Like, could you benefit from one? Sure, right? But it comes in many different shapes and sizes. Many different shapes
Yeah.
and sizes, and sometimes. Yeah, not often, not most of the time, but I do see it happen. People looking for they're looking for a coach or they're looking for a mentor, like an official
Hmm.
mentor type capacity. And they have really good mentors in their immediate surroundings.
Hmm.
Like I
Hmm.
know because like their colleagues, their bosses, are really smart people. Um, and my advice is always start at home. Start by
Yeah.
learning what you can from home. Learn if you have a manager, learn everything you can from that manager, and eventually you're going to run out of stuff to learn if you're a quick
Hmm.
learner, right?
Yeah.
If you
And
report to the same manager for 5 years, you
yeah,
might run out
if
of stuff.
if you don't like that manager, you can also learn. He can be he or she
Yes,
can be a bad example, not, like not to do. So you can always learn.
I've learned a
That's
lot
yeah.
from bad managers. Perhaps I've learned more from bad managers I've had than from
Mhm.
the good managers that I had. But I will also say this though: is the older that I get, the more understand. I want to say forgiving, but that would imply that they've done something that needs to be forgiven, and I don't want to imply that.
Yeah.
But the older that I get, the more understanding I want to say I am
Mm-hmm.
of my past bad managers, right?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
it's kind of like as you get older, you get to a
Yeah.
certain point where you realize, oh, my parents actually, yeah, I get it now, right? Like I didn't
Yeah. I know.
understand how difficult it was, but now that I'm a
Yeah.
parent,
Yeah.
sorry mom, sorry dad, right? And it's kind of like that same with um,
Yeah.
leadership, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like the older you
Yeah.
get, the more you appreciate good leadership, and the more forgiving you are of um, less than good leadership.
Yeah. And you're more empathic. You
Oh
have
yeah,
more
empathy.
capacity of empathy.
The curse of empathy. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, life would be
Yeah.
so much easier if you could just go through it as a
Mm.
narcissist, not caring who you're
Oh,
pissed off.
please no.
Wouldn't it be
I
easy?
hate
It would be
narcissists.
so much.
No.
Yeah, but let's face it, it'd be so much easier not having to care, not having to care what
I
people
don't-
think.
But no, yeah, but people around him or her are going to suffer. So
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
No.
Well, we're coming up. It is getting late. We've been doing this for
Yeah.
going on an hour now. We got a little bit of a late start. technical difficulties on LinkedIn. If you're listening on LinkedIn, I apologize for this. We've just switched systems here, and I didn't realize that we were going at 60 frames per second. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Thanks for joining. If you've joined us, we'll make sure to throw the big video up there. But Yuka, any closing thoughts before we wrap it up and let you go kiss your kid goodnight?
Yeah, closing thought. Let's do it together. We are all in this together. So, you know,
Oh, I thought you
and
meant me.
I'm,
I was okay. I was like, oh wait, we're gonna do it together. You mean
I
everybody?
mean, like
Everybody.
everybody. Yeah. So don't be alone. I mean, you're not alone.
Mhm.
Just reach out.
Yeah, and I'll second that. There are beautiful, beautiful communities springing up over the last 12 months. You know, as Yuka mentioned at the beginning of this live cast, 2020 did not cause digital what is it transformation digital transformation,
Transformation.
but it sure as
But
hell did accelerate it, right? So there are a lot of beautiful, beautiful virtual communities for anything that you're interested in. If you're interested in localization and machine translation, there are clubhouse rooms to talk about that. There are LinkedIn groups. There are loc lunches and loc pubs and loc drinks and loc desserts and loc whiskeys. I don't even know. There's so many locs out there. Um, Take advantage of it. I highly recommend it to you guys. So with that, I think I'm gonna play us out here. Let me do this really quickly. Need to go through thank my sponsors here, Nimsy Insights. We are a market research and consulting company specialized in the language services industry. For those of you that aren't familiar with Nimsy, I highly recommend you go over, check it out, Nimsy, NIMDZI.com. Go over and check it out. Got a lot of good information. A lot of it's free. Some of it's for our clients. Um, Likewise, Intento, plug for Intento here. If you have machine translation questions, you're trying to figure out what is the best engine to use for me, how do I better leverage AI
Mhm.
in my workflows, talk to the guys, talk to Yuka, talk to the guys over at Intento. Or you can talk to us. You can talk to me. But I'm just going to tell you to go talk to Yuka. So save yourself a step in the process. And with that, I will say thank you all for joining. If you're interested in joining one of these in the future, reach out to me. I'm always looking for my next victim. Thank you very much, Yuka, for being that victim today.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It was fun. Thank you.
All right. And with that, have a wonderful day.